You've almost certainly met someone like this. They can map out a life that looks nothing like their current one in startling detail. They talk about extraordinary goals. They have clear step-by-step plans, and they can articulate exactly what success looks like. But if you check back with them a month, a year, or even 5 years later, their day-to-day reality hasn't moved an inch. The future they describe is incredibly sharp, but their physical progress is completely frozen. The standard diagnosis for this behavior is a simple lack of work ethic. Society generally labels this state as laziness. Yet clinical observation suggests a different story. Psychologists see an active, high-alert internal response, one that functions less like a lack of drive and more like a sophisticated defense system. The brain has begun to perceive the physical act of trying as a direct threat to the individual. To the nervous system, maintaining the pristine potential of a dream feels safer than exposing it to the risks of execution. This creates a psychological trap designed to keep the person perfectly still. This trap relies on a specific glitch in human neurology. The brain struggles to differentiate between vividly imagining a difficult achievement and actually doing the work to complete it. This graph plots internal visualization. Building a detailed picture of success releases rewarding bursts of satisfaction, simulating progress and dropping physical urgency to zero. This creates an addiction to potential, an instant dopamine spike with zero friction, whereas real effort is slow and uncomfortable. Once that flawless version of the dream is constructed, the mind goes to work defending it. The reality of executing a plan is inherently messy, and the brain acts to insulate the fantasy from that mess. A deep-seated fear of failure often masquerades as thorough planning, or the belief that the timing isn't quite right yet. They map out the first step, calculate the potential fallout, and analyze the secondary outcomes. They spin through every possible scenario in a constant loop of high-level analysis. Running these complex simulations takes a heavy physiological toll. By the time the moment arrives to actually start the work, the mental energy reservoir is already entirely depleted. This makes inaction a highly effective strategy for preserving perfection. As long as the idea stays locked in the planning phase, it remains flawless. The deepest roadblock resides in the subconscious self-image. The brain forcefully resists physical actions that contradict how a person views themselves at a fundamental level. If an individual harbors a quiet, lingering belief that they are undisciplined or someone who quits, the mind will work to honor that identity. It will sabotage sustained effort to ensure the internal narrative remains correct. Regardless of the vast scale of the ambition, the subconscious identity usually wins the war against conscious desire. This is why taking real action feels so threatening. It requires the person to abandon the comfortable, familiar version of themselves and become someone they don't yet recognize. This dynamic sustains the ultimate excuse of the stagnant visionary, the belief that they must feel ready before they begin. In reality, action is the engine that generates readiness. The feeling of being prepared is a byproduct of doing the work, not a prerequisite for starting it. The capacity to dream of a better life is a standard human trait. Ideas and ambitions are common, which makes them poor predictors of actual success. Progress relies on the specific ability to endure cognitive friction, a trait that carries far more weight than innate talent. Success requires the deliberate destruction of the perfect, safe fantasy in your mind. It demands you step into a messy, uncomfortable reality and take action the exact moment your brain is screaming at you to do nothing.